innovation and system ecosystems. So we start with a comparison to know what is the difference between, in that case, because we are 4 people inside in our group, between Europe and United States. And the main difference we find out as an example, if you're looking from where are coming the research work, where is it driven? In United States, we find out most of them is driven from the market, that means from the companies. In comparison with Europe, we said most of them is driven from the government, paid and budget from the government. So completely different systems. And additionally, we looked and find out, if you think about people, they finish their PhD, where they're working afterwards. And again, we find out United States, 80% are in industry. In Europe, 80% are in universities. So it's not so easy to handle it. And we think about systems and ecosystems, we have to address different things like policy, trust, transparency, and to identify it from the mindset that people were taught earlier, later on with their experience, they will teach the new youngsters to give or forward their know-how, their experience. And this is mainly important, and trust will guide us. I will give forward to Omilia.
Thanks, Carsten. Hi, everyone. I will present some of the relevant points to keep in mind to build an agile innovation system and ecosystem. People, contact, networks, and finally relationships are the center of the link between institutions. So we must focus on identifying those people that allow us to build relationships, for example, alumni or previous collaborators. Another important point is that the connection between social, political, and technological world in all the stakeholders should participate in the design conversation of initiatives, projects, and technologies, with the aim that the obtained results brings impact and satisfies their requirement or needs. A very relevant point in our conversation was the importance of having a common legal framework, which will allow us to develop activities, make decisions, and reach quick arrangements within previously agreed limits. Transparency is another important point, since we must be able to quickly align the expectation of the activities to be carried out. And for that, we must be direct and transparent about the objectives of each institution, about what is negotiable and about what is not. Just to jump to another of these points, I will move to the market value or R&D. And here it's important to point out that we must not forget that the applied research is always about the impact, economic and social, and we cannot lose sight of what is our final goal. The technology transfer offices are also the professionals specialized in liaison in both academia and industry are very important, because they are our bridges between different cultures and will help us to catalyze the different processes. And this brings us to the last point of the keep in mind, which is the minimized bureaucracy, which I believe is one of the great fears of industry when it's working with academia, but it's also the other way around, I think. We must try to build more flexible processes when we collaborate with institutions that are culturally different, but offer great value when we pursue a common goal.
Thank you, Miriam. So let me summarize what puts all this together, what binds all this together. And the word is trust. This is so difficult to build. And there's 3 takeaways here. One is trust making. When you have to deal with attitudes do not match. Cultural awareness is very important. Whether the system exists or not, whether the policy exists at different scales, we're talking university, country, state, even international treaties. If the attitudes don't match, you have to do the trust making there, okay? Now, if nothing works, then there's a lot of contradictions. Just people are going left and the other ones are people going right or up and down. So you have to come up with a system that will build the trust. So this is trust building. And then, of course, live in a very fast changing world, technology, and everything will change. And we want to make sure that everything is lined up and the system does not break. We have to do the trust keeping. So behaviors are very important. All of them have to exist in real time. How can we come up with an agile system in our institutions where we depend on two branches that were not very aligned with us, or maybe we should learn more about? One is the legal system, policy. And the other side is every time there's a transaction, finance, money transaction, that needs to be brought into the curricula and everybody needs to be aware. And I think we're moving toward a good, trustworthy system. Even the financial industry now is going through ESG metrics, environmental, right? Sustainability, and G, governance, transparency again. So this is what we put together after listening to many groups. And thank you so much for my group. This was really worth tackling this issue. Thank you.